What's up, you guys? I'm Christina Sheree. If you're new, welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, it's always good to see you. You know what, today guys, I am talking about one of my top 3 favorite brands. Gonna rank all of my eyeshadow palettes in this brand, and I'm pretty excited about it. So if you're interested in seeing how I rank this brand and you just want to hang with me for a little bit, just grab a snack and keep on watching. We're gonna jump into the video. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to place a picture of the palette on the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But just a little bit about why I love this brand so much. They are just edgy and unique, and the curation of their palettes is just, for me as a creative person, I love it. I love how they push colors. I love some of the color choices I haven't seen in other brands. Overall, the quality with Melt, I love their stacks. I have all of their stacks, and I think I wrote it down, I think out of like 10 stacks, out of 7 stacks, out of 7 stacks, I think they only have like 4 still available, 3 or 4 still available on the website. Stacks are just fun, but not about the stacks, today about the palettes. And the reason I brought up the stacks is sometimes you would find that the quality in the stacks seem to be a little bit more consistent and much better as far as their mattes and their shimmers in their stacks. And with their palettes, it can be hit or miss, as you'll see with the very first one I talk about. But overall, like, this is one of my favorite brands. Again, I love them so much, and I'm going to go through all my palettes. So let's get this going. Okay, you guys, so coming in at number 10 is the Millennial Pinks palette. I was so excited to get this palette. I just love pink. Pink is like one of my favorite colors all around just to wear. And I just was really excited to get this one and go, hey, this is one of my favorite brands. They gotta do pinks well. And no, this palette is not the thing. Ugh. It just is so inconsistent with the quality of the mattes. The shimmers really aren't all that fabulous. I love the curation of the palette, but as far as the way it performs and the quality of it, it's coming in at the bottom, number 10 for me. But it's pretty. It just didn't do it. Alright. And coming in at number 9, this, if it's just for packaging alone, oh my good bejeebies, I'm trying to put the box together. This is the 24 palette. So this is the carton. I'm sure I have the picture of the inside out. Inside out, inside up. But look at this. You move it and it, I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but it shifts. So if it's for packaging alone, yay. But it's coming in at number 9 for me. And the reason that I have it at number 9 is this is a really fun palette, but it's a lot harder to use and to come up with a variety of looks. If you love these colors and you're really familiar with this color story, then I say go for it. For me, I do enjoy the colors, but there's another palette that they have that's towards the top of my list that kind of is just a bit more easier for me to use, and I kind of mesh with the colors a bit more. But overall, this is a pretty decent palette. Very creative. I'd say this palette is really for the person that has a lot of neutrals or other shades in their collection and they just want that one palette to play with or try something different. But for me, it's number 9. And number 8. This one was a hard one for me to really rank. Again, the packaging. This is part of their, what is this collection called? The Amor Eternal collection. And it's one of 2 palettes. And so for me, number 8 is the Vita palette. If we're just looking at the outside packaging, half of my face, oh, it should be the other half. It's really beautiful. You know, I just put it at this one just because I do love colorful palettes, but it's just not something that I reach for very often. Currently, though, this palette is sold out. I don't know if they're going to bring it back, but if you already have it or if you're thinking about getting it, I'm sure you can find it on like Poshmark or something like that. It's if you love colorful palettes and you want a nice curation in one where you don't have the full rainbow but just enough, this would be a great palette for you. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. I just really don't reach for it that often because I don't do very colorful looks too often. So that's why for me it is at number 8, the Vita palette. Coming in at number 7, Smoke Sessions. I really enjoy this palette. It's a specific look though. I mean, I think it's really saturated. It performs well. I love the shimmers. It's just a specific look. And when I want these colors, this is definitely a palette that I'll pull out. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Not that you're looking for something bad per se, but you know, it is a good palette. I enjoy it. I think that this is one of those palettes that if you like these colors and you want to use it, not necessarily from start to finish for one look, although you can do that, you can for sure use it with other palettes because this will give you that beautiful pop of shimmer on top of another look. So yeah, for me, that's how I use this palette. And for number 6, the Impulsive palette. I keep my packaging. I just find that when it has details, it's just like a piece of art for me. So this is the carton. It's just pictures of both of the founders and some of their co-workers and fans and all that stuff. And this is the actual palette itself. You can see the picture there. You know, I put this one here at number 6 because it does give you range. It doesn't have a lot of mattes, but it has just enough mattes. I like the fact that I get warm and cool tone in one palette. I love the fact that they took it and gave you some grungier colors, as you can see in the picture up there. So this is one of those palettes that I reach for when I call it my catch-all palettes, where I don't have a specific look in mind that I'm going for, but I want the variety to just pick and play as I'm creating something for the day or for an event or whatever. And this palette does that for me. I am a shimmer girl. I love shimmers more so than mattes. So this one's perfect for me. If you want a palette that has more mattes in it and still a variety, I would not say this one is that thing for you. But if you do like shimmers and you don't mind having a few more shimmers than mattes, and you want, again, the cool to warm color range in one palette, I would say for sure go for that one. And right now it retailed originally at $65, and right now it's on sale for $25. So I don't know if sale means that it's going to be discontinued, but right now you can still get it if you don't already have it. And number 5 is actually a newer one in my collection for Melt, and I love it. It's the She's and Parties. Oh, look at this carton. And the palette actually looks the same. I just love details and love packaging. But to talk about why I put this palette at number 5, I love purples and I love maroons and I love that tone a lot, but I don't necessarily need a huge array of purple tones. I'm not that in love with the color, but I love it enough where this palette actually does it for me, and it's so beautiful on, I'm sure, a range of skin tones, but this one really looks so incredibly gorgeous on people of color, from medium to deeper skin tones. It just brings out the undertones, and it's such an incredible palette. So I put this one there because of that. It is more curated. If you love this color again and you want more of it, then I would say it's not for you. But if you don't mind having a nice selection and you can work with it and you love the color like I do, then I would say this palette is for sure for you, and I would say a necessity in your collection too. Getting down to the wire, these next 4, the order of them was pretty difficult for me to come up with because I really enjoy all of them except for number 1. Number 1 was an easy spot for me to pick, but for number 4, I picked the 27 palette here. This is a carton, and again, you can see the picture up there. You know, this palette was doing for me what I had hoped the Millennial Pinks would. I really love the rosier and peachier and pinkier tones, and this gives you just enough of that where you can really kind of build it up and get more saturation. You can sheer it out, or buff it out rather, and it still gives me that feel. And so that, for that reason, I really enjoy this palette. The shimmers are not the greatest. They're okay. You can definitely fix plus your brush, or wet your brush rather, and get a little bit more intensity from them. But overall, this palette is number 4 because I just truly enjoy the color story a lot. It's something that I reach for more often than not. So for me, I really enjoy this. If you like these colors, I would say this palette definitely gives you a nice variety of them and you won't be disappointed. So that is why I put that one at, I was about to say 24. Where did that come from? Where I put it at number 4. So number 3. Number 3, I put it here. It's newer to my collection. It is the Rust palette here. And I put it at number 3 because I do love the addition of the colors that they added to this. This palette, the concept was originally a stack, and the performance of those shades, those mattes, insanely good. This palette actually is not so bad either. It kind of keeps on par with the stack, so I was very happy about that. But actually the look that I have on today, I created with this palette. It's a great neutral palette. It's not going to give you a huge range like the Vita Palette, or ColourPop has one, Bare Essentials. That gives you a lot more tones. But if you have an idea of a look that you want to go for with a neutral palette, and you want to be able to kind of smoke it out and get that deepness and that saturation, or just lightly blend it and then buff that color out to be even lighter and a little bit more translucent, you can do that with this palette and with their shades. So for the variety in that, I actually love this palette, so I put it at number 3. Ooh, number 2. Dun, 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 dun. The Gemini palette. I love this palette. Honestly, you guys, I think the Olive Smoky Eye is one of the sexiest, sultriest, most underrated smoky eye color combination that I've seen. Every time I pull out this palette, I love the looks that I come up with. It works really well as far as blending itself out. The quality for me, I think, is very good. I love the color story on my skin tone. And again, I just am one where I'm kind of both ends of the spectrum. I love the pinkier tones and that girly romantic look, but then I love me some grungy, edgy looks. I love, again, that olive smoky eye, and my gosh, this one never disappoints me. It's still available. I know for a while when it first came out it was in and out. I believe it's still available now, so happily number 2 is the Gemini palette. And ooh, number 1. First, let me just say, as you can tell, I'm super juiced. I was so excited when this one came out. It's not available anymore, and I believe that they're not coming back out with it. But I will say that they've said that before. Like, I think they said it with the Gemini palette, and it came back out. And this one is highly requested by so many people. I would imagine they'll bring it back out. What am I talking about? The Muay Palette. This palette, let me show you the actual palette itself. It's just so incredibly gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Like, it performs well, the shadows perform well, the quality's there, the saturation is intense, and it is a specific color story, but you can get, honestly, way more looks out of this palette than you would imagine just looking at it. Mixing cool and warm, or just going on the cool range, going on the warmer range, doing a warm range with a nice blue pop, and vice versa. Like, this palette just fueled my creativity when it came out. I was so juiced, and a lot of the reviews that I saw on this one, a lot of people were feeling the same vibes with it, and that's not all hype. This palette is 100% worth it. It is definitely my number 1 without question for my Milk Cosmetics collection, and I do hope it comes back. But for right now, yes, the Muay palette, number 1. Well, you guys, I really hope that you enjoyed listening to me go through all of my Milk Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. I was going to do one with the stacks, but you can't really get them, not as much anymore, so I'll just focus on the eyeshadow palettes. They are, I think, one of the most underrated indie brands. They are just so good with how they approach makeup, how they approach packaging, and the creativity of their curations, packaging, all of it. And so for somebody like me, I thoroughly enjoy it. Why don't you go ahead and leave a comment below. Do you have these palettes? Do you enjoy them? Would you have changed any of the rankings? Maybe if the one I put on the bottom, would you put on the top? Just whatever ideas you have or things you'd like to say, I'd love for you guys to go ahead and just put that down below. And while I'm wrapping this video up, just of course a couple of really important things to me. If you guys can please go ahead and hit that notification bell, the subscribe button, and then like the video. I thoroughly enjoy just doing these videos and spending time with you guys, and I am so grateful that you guys gave me some of your time. So before you head on out, popping up one more thing, my Instagram, not going to go into a spiel about it. Love being creative on both platforms, love expanding the looks, pictures of the looks that I do here, there, so you'll get that there. And yeah, you guys, that's all I have. Thank you again so much for your time, whatever time it is, morning, noon, or night. I appreciate you gave me some of it. You guys have a good day. Bye.